Hi, welcome back to Parenting Teens. Today I'm going to be talking to Kenneth. Kenneth is an HR practitioner, and if you want to share insights and learn about parenting teens and issues related to teens, you're in the right place. Kenneth, you're very welcome today.
Thank you, Lillian.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Lillian, for hosting me for today's show, actually. I'm called Kenneth Asizwa. I hold a bachelor's in industrial and organizational psychology, then a master's in organizational psychology. I've been practicing human resource for approximately 6 years. This is my 6th year in the field, and I've been active doing 360 HR. I've not been measuring in specifics, but I've been doing 360 HR. Basically, that is what I do.
6 years is quite some time, eh?
Yeah.
You must have acquired a lot of experience. I want to ask you this very interesting question that people usually ask when you're working in any environment, like any work environment. People usually say that HR people don't have work to do. Tell us a little bit about what you do, like when you come into office, what do you do from morning to evening? And also, let us understand a little bit more about HR.
You see, since HR is a support system, people don't tend to see what HR does, but what I can tell you is that HR is the backbone of all organizations. If we recruit wrong people or people who are not qualified, there is no way someone in finance is going to perform. There is no way someone in programs will perform, or anyone in any department will perform. So HR is key because we get all the talent that is needed in an organization. We are responsible for who comes into the organization. If we get someone who is toxic,
who does not fit into the team,
who is not a team player, it becomes very hard for them to communicate, and it becomes so hard. So I think that is just people feel biased because most of our work is on. So they think, and people's mental health is basically HR. We make sure everyone is in the right mental state to work and everything and all that. So HR does a lot of work, actually, from recruitment until when someone leaves the organization, that is exit, be it resignation or termination. That is
and you mentioned something very good about if you don't get the right talent, you have really messed up because this person is stuck with you. And I also know that in the HR department, it's usually difficult to get to separate people from the organization or from a company. So you have to make sure that you get the right talent when you're recruiting. So in terms of your daily work, when you walk into office like at 8 a.m. in the morning or 8:30 or 9, whatever time it is that you start your work, what is it that you do from morning till evening?
Morning till evening. There's a lot of things depending on the day. So like any normal person, you walk in, set your gadgets for work, start your computer, maybe read through the emails, the ones that need attention to. You respond there, and then the ones that need you to consult maybe or check with other departments, let's say payments for some service providers. Basically, you have to first consult from the departments how far, then you can give feedback. But as someone who is going to start your day, you have a yardstick. You set according to priority which one comes first. Speaking of myself, you have a notebook. You take down what you're going to do. If you have recruitments, you have interviews, you have long listings to do, you have a disciplinary case, you have a conflict, or you have to do work permits for some people, all that is HR. You have some filing, you have meetings in the day. So what you do, you set priority, which one comes first in the day. So it's really packed in there, and it's fire. HR is not easy. You want to try it? True. Be my guest.
Now, for someone, I know we are going to talk about something related to how young people can get into the job market, what skills are required right now in the current job market. But before we get to that, let me try to summarize what you're saying so that those who are interested in HR field might have an idea. Because, when people see us coming to offices, they wonder, what do you do? What are those emails that you keep on talking about? So you've talked about recruitment, you've talked about disciplinary conflicts management, you've talked about what else?
Compensation, you do people's
Compensation,
payrolls and
payroll,
all that, yeah.
and those can be broken down into various tasks, because it's not something that you do in one day.
True.
You come up with big plans, and there are so many things that are broken down within those tasks. So it's actually a lot of work that you do.
Indeed.
And you collaborate with other departments as well.
Basically, HR is more of a support. Yeah, it's a support function, so you work with everyone in the organization.
So I want us to talk about this current job market. Right now we have Form 4s who are soon sitting their examinations. We also have Form 6s who are also soon sitting their examinations. In both cases, we have Form 4s who have to think about the combinations that they are going to do in A level, but we also have Form 6s who are thinking about the kind of courses that might be relevant in the job market right now. So they have to make those choices. But I have noticed that sometimes parents are stuck in the traditional courses. But again, the job market, younger people want to multitask. They want to do so many things. But again, we know that there's the actual job market. In your case, you work in the NGO sector. So what are you beginning to see as the major skills that you look for when you're recruiting?
Okay, thank you, Lillian. The major skills basically never change, but for me as a person, even if I'm on that panel, what I look out for is attitude. Does this person have the right attitude? Because you may be very, very good and talented in whatever you do, but all that can be trashed if you don't have the right attitude.
Yeah.
Because if you have the right attitude, even if you are not very best, that means you're trainable, that means you can accept correction, that means you take feedback to be supportive, not tarnishing or something of that kind. That means you'll be willing to work in a team, and that means you'll be able to allow to grow. But someone who has the wrong attitude, let us say these people think they know it all, they don't want to be told about their mistakes, or someone does not accept every feedback you give them, they take it the wrong way. Trust me, however good they are, however good they are, that will not be okay for them, because you cannot work in a team when you don't have the right attitude. Yeah. So you talked about the different behaviors. So we realize that a lot of technology has taken up the space, and the millennials and Gen Zs, like people call them, and the other, our parents now call them our parents. Generation X,
and some millennials.
Yeah, so we see a lot of changes. These people, everything is on line and everything, but HR is taking up. You find out now people share everything on LinkedIn. People are sharing adverts on LinkedIn. People are putting adverts in WhatsApp groups. Because
that is true, because these days actually you don't see so many jobs in newspapers.
Yeah.
So everything has been digitalized.
Yeah, most of the organizations are running digital. They're doing LinkedIn, they're doing WhatsApp groups. TikTok I'm not on, so people do X and all that. But
there are also other job markets on digital job markets. Like there's I remember there was one called Brighter Monday.
There's Brighter Monday.
Then there are many.
There are very many. There are very many outside there, and people have done consultancy firms that hire for people, so they keep putting them all over your face. So it is too close, and anyone can get. So very few organizations, and maybe the government is still in the newspaper bit of it. So. And everything we used to draw. I remember my time when we had just graduated. You take hard paper. You have to carry your written application. But these days, someone sits whenever they are, and they
everything is online.
They forward you your email. So if you are as an HR or you as the organization are not willing to accept that change, it is hard for you, because where we are heading, we are running out. We're, it's like we're eliminating paper, and we
Yeah.
just want everything to be paperless. Even you see in monetary terms, people are using Momo and everything. So
Yeah.
we are trying to move, and which is not a bad thing because it makes our work easy. We don't have the piles and piles. I remember they would call you for interviews most of the times, though it is not outphrased. You had to, the non-verbals are okay. When someone comes and you meet physically is best, because you identify some behavior, attitude, non-communication, non-verbal communication. You can see it, but
including what you said about attitude.
Yeah.
If you can make assumptions that can be proxies of what someone's attitude towards work might be when you physically meet them.
Yeah, when you physically meet them.
Yeah. So you've talked about attitude being one of those things that you test in terms of skills.
Yes.
And maybe people don't even realize that they are being tested for their attitude. You've also mentioned IT. By default, you've mentioned IT because you've talked about things being digitalized and you not having to physically write your application, but maybe enter whatever information is required by the recruiters into some digitalized program.
Yeah.
So there's attitude, there is IT skills. What other skills are you looking for?
Since you talked about someone who has just left campus, and most of the times when we leave campus, the only experience we have is our internship, and maybe the knowledge, the class knowledge, and which is mostly not hands-on. It is just the knowledge bit of it. You've not done the practical bit of it. So if I'm on the panel and I'm recruiting new entries, basically that's what I base on, because if you have the knowledge in class and your attitude is right, I'm so sure you'll be willing to learn and everything. The psychological capital of it is really, really very important.
Because also when you're recruiting these people, especially those who are right from school, you're also within your program, you have an orientation package for them, which includes training them on some basic skills that they would need to do the job, right?
Right.
So for these teens who are planning to go to A-level and to go to uni, what kind of courses would you advise them to think about?
Okay.
Because I know that they undermine some courses and they prefer some courses. Even parents undermine some courses and prefer other courses. But what really are you seeing as relevant in this current job market?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think now this information will be very important for those in senior 3, maybe senior 4, because they have a step. But the ones for senior 6, it may be a little late because they're starting exams soon. So maybe senior 5.
But even senior 6, much as they've already applied for the courses that they want, they still have options. Because you have your first course that you apply for government, and then you have the other private options.
Sure.
Because people, as long as you get how many principal passes, is it 2 or 3?
2.
Yeah, you qualify.
Yeah,
but when you qualify, you still have to choose the right course for you as an individual.
Okay. For the ones who are in senior 4 or senior 5, that first of all, for me, I would say that the course right now would talk about blending passion and knowledge.
That's very interesting. Yeah. Blending passion and knowledge.
Yes, you blend what you want, you fuse it together with what you already know or what you've learned. That is 1. Then 2, knowing the innermost you and knowing yourself, appreciating who you are. If you really know you're very good at sciences and you really know you're very good at arts, because that is how we term it, that's the education system, I wouldn't want someone to do what, education is so funny.
Yeah.
You may have you may be someone who has been performing, I wouldn't say poorly, fairly in sciences, but your senior 4 comes out, you've performed very well in sciences. Yet deep down in your core, sciences have not been my thing.
Yeah.
But since I've excelled at UCE, you go ahead HSC and do sciences. I had colleagues who would change even 3rd term a year is gone and someone is changing combination because they were not true to themselves. So I would advise the teens, first of all, be true to yourself. Know who you are, know what you're best at, know your strength, which subjects you score high at. Yeah. Then two, you always have to blend.
Yeah.
You blend that passion with what you already know or what you want to do. So if you do something, even as for work, if you're working in the department that you want and you love your job, trust me, you will even wake up before your alarm goes off because you're going to do it. Feels like home. You don't feel stressed, but the moment you're doing something you don't want, you're just doing it for the case you just want to earn a living.
Yeah.
Trust me, you have to drag yourself out of that bed. You feel something is not right. So basically that will be the key. Maybe to some schools it will be also okay for different schools to get different counselors or people who are people who do more of educational talks to come and talk to these people, career guidance, come and talk to these kids from a lower level, so that as you go, you really, because what I want to believe that there's all those courses before they are set out by the Council of Education, both at uni and at HSC, they are evaluated by a panel. So there is no course that is irrelevant that is at the university. All courses which are there can get you your dream job. All the combinations that are at HSC, all the subjects can get you what you want. It comes from you, your attitude, what you want, and willing to blend what you love with what you're going to do.
So what would you advise for young people who feel that they are being boxed into something by their parents, who are stuck to the traditional courses? Because I feel that even for me, my generation, we feel like you have to do the professional courses. You have to be a lawyer, you have to be a doctor, surveyor, teacher, engineer. You know, those are the traditional courses. But when you do those courses, I feel like young people do those courses when they don't even know where they might want to work. Because, you know, there is doing the course, but which sector, which area would you like? Because you could be a lawyer and you're not going to be an advocate in the courts of law. You could be a lawyer and work in a company as a company secretary. Or you could even do development work or humanitarian work, and you're doing, maybe you're doing human rights. So I think there are different subsections of each profession, but there are also different job markets that demand certain skills. So how can we share with young people how it's possible for you to diversify? You might be a lawyer, but you don't need to just do work that lawyers do.
Yes.
You might be a lawyer, but you can also be maybe an accountant,
digital marketing,
or you can be those kind of things.
Yeah. Actually, that is the trend of late, and if you check, there's a lot of people who have done the traditional courses, but since they didn't have the passion, find them doing other things, which is not a bad thing. But why would you spend all your 3 years or 5 years in university and you don't get to practice what you did? It is very right to be versatile. It is very right to be flexible, to have different roles you do all along. But what I would say, I would request the young generation to be assertive. First of all,
they already are assertive.
Yeah, they are assertive, but maybe also when it comes, they are assertive in different ways. But when it comes to education, it is more. Impart yourself with knowledge. Don't limit yourself. Learn everything you feel you can learn. If it comes to digital marketing, make sure you know something about it, know the basics of IT, because where the world is ending, where the world is going, some of us even don't know whether our professions will already be there. People are talking about AI and all that. So
yeah,
it is good to be versatile, and maybe to the parents then, if someone, all the courses can get you wherever you want to be. I know people who are earning chunks of money, but the courses they did, you will even be surprised. Those are the
Yeah.
courses we used to step down on when we were at
Yeah, like
university.
I know many interpreters, people
Yeah.
who did languages,
Yeah,
what we used to refer to as flat courses, but they did languages and they are doing very big jobs.
yeah,
They are interpreters in spaces where
yeah.
people are not able to go. I also know that people can be anything. They can be doctors, architects, lawyers, whatever. But one course that I have seen very important is project management.
Yeah.
You find that you're a doctor, but you need to understand how to manage projects.
How to manage it.
You need to understand how to manage people, how to manage your team, how
Yeah.
to organize your team to achieve results. So there are certain things that you still need to do. So I feel like even IT, like for us who are in the development sector, you really have to know something about IT because there are so many systems and programs that we use to organize our work. They could be management systems, they could be financial systems that are digitalized to manage resources, which are linked to program activities, which are linked to human resource. There are so many of these things. Other things are like now, we used to talk about communications as one component, but within communications, there's also multimedia. And then within multimedia, there are some skills that all professions need. Like in the NGO sector, you might be a program manager, but you need multimedia skills. You need to know how to use a camera, how to download pictures, how to edit pictures, how to prepare infographics, how to all these things. So I feel like we are getting more specialized because you have people who are doing, if you look at the courses now, you find that some universities are providing courses which are very specialized. But again, when I look at the younger people, they are multi-talented and then they want to do so many things. So how do we harmonize the issue of needing versatile skills, but also and being multi-talented, but also the fact that the courses that we have are very specific. So how do you harmonize that issue? Because if you're going to do a specific course, and yet when you come to the job market, you're expected to be versatile, you're expected to fit in everything. How do you harmonize that?
When you go to the university or to any college of higher learning, you go for a specific course, which has different course units. But all these course units, they will just, if you're not at a master's level or PhD, you will have a lot of course units you do that are all round.
Mm-hmm.
So when you come to we setting out adverts, of course we shall look for specific courses. That's why you need that specific course. If I'm looking for someone to deal in social work, I'll look for someone who did SWASA. If I'm looking for someone to be in finance, I need someone who did maybe a finance course with accounting as a major. Or if I'm looking for HR, I'll look for someone who did industrial and organizational psychology.
And that's why you have like
That's
the
why
essentials.
We have the essentials and
desirable.
All those.
Yeah.
So if you are I'm looking for HR, you're a HR person, you did industrial and organizational psychology, but all your experience has been in, let me say, surveying. You've been doing surveying or you've been doing digital marketing. And they want someone for digital marketing. Someone, because there are those things you look out for. If they have, we say someone who has a degree maybe in digital marketing, and these years of experience, by the mere fact that your credentials are showing that you did industrial psychology, not digital marketing, though you have the experience, where we have now the HR information systems, when we drop it there and we say we are looking for people who have this and this,
it
eliminates you, however rich your experience may be. So it will be so good for someone to practice a little if they want to go in that line. Of course, people go and do masters and that's fine, and they go into different things. Someone will do business administration and they do a postgraduate in project management and boom, they're in project management. That comes back to passion. If this person did the business administration because they wanted it, they will go and master in it.
What about transferable skills? If I have been a program manager for a long time, can't I be a human resource?
Well,
employee?
you can be in human resource, but you won't be good as someone who studied human resource. There are those basics. You may do the, but times come when you have to make judgment, and that judgment can only be drawn from what you learned from class and the experience you've gained. You can be in your project management, you shift to HR, but if you don't have the HR background, we know people who have HR background and they are in project management. Such people are very, very good at project management on what they do, because initially they had people management skills. That is what they were trained to do. But when they diversified and they got this core, that's why they make those decisions basing on, they know that these workers are not robots, these workers are human, these people also. So they make, those are the people you find and someone is praising their supervisor. I'm not saying the people who didn't do HR are not good managers, but these ones are in a way better, because someone like me who did industrial psychology is about the study of people. So you would know, you can get the traits and the personalities, put them together, you can predict behavior. Because if you can, the past, they say the past and the present can help you determine the future.
So this is a lot of information. There's this now, you know, the teens, well, some of them are being employed in some jobs, but I want to talk about the Gen Zs themselves. Gen Zs against millennials and Generation X. So when the younger people, mostly Gen Zs, come into the job market, are you identifying certain differences between them and the older generations and how they work?
Yeah, there are a lot. Can
you share with us some of those?
So they have the advantages and disadvantages. Gen Z is like, right now, people they don't want to be pushed. They want to do everything at their pace. But someone who is X, for them, they want their results most. They are like, if they give you something, they want it then. And the Gen Z would want to do something at their leisure so they can deliver later. That is one. When we're studying, they used to tell us some specific dress code when you're coming for interviews, because we believe that the first impression you give me, I'll take 7 seconds to make a judgment of you, but it will take me 7 years, that's according to psychology, to get it off my mind. If I set that perception of you in 7 seconds, it will take me 7 years. So however good,
to undo that
perception, that is what it says. 7 seconds against 7 years. So sometimes you call people for interviews. Yes, sometimes it's not all about how they're dressed, but as I've said, the perception you give us, you can already make me create a bias. If the person who is seated on your panel is not a Gen Z, is maybe Generation X, who knows that when you're coming for an interview, for a gent, you'll be in a suit. For a lady, you'll be tidy, at least put on a dress and a coat, which is closed shoes, then a skirt or any dress which is past your knees. If I'm not a millennial like you, if I'm not a Gen Z like you and I'm seated on your panel, just the way you're dressed can give me a bias already. We are human and we have emotions.
But I think in that case, we both, the Gen Zs and the older generations, need to unlearn some things.
We have to unlearn and learn other things.
Because if a Gen Z comes, I mean, they also need to be aware that if I'm going to a formal setting, there are certain formal dressings that you're supposed to be considerate about, but also the older generations need to think about younger people dress differently. As long as they are decent, we cannot also quickly make assumptions about them and judge them based on their dressing. Of course, there are extremes, but there are certain things which can pass, right?
There are some things that can pass. Someone can be casual smart and you will see someone is presentable. Someone comes for interviews, they have headsets on, they are chewing. You see, some of those things are not taught. Some of those things are just learned. Someone's chewing, someone is on their phone, you're asking them, and those are basics.
That's just disrespect.
That's respect. Someone will see and then but we know. So when it comes to tech savvy, these guys the Gen Zs are more of everything is online and online. Most of them prefer working from home. Others don't even want to work Saturdays. For organizations that work Saturday, they don't even want to appear.
So how are you managing those issues if some people are coming to office daily? Because you know, beyond working independently online, there is also the interaction, and there are some jobs that require building relationships, interacting with your colleagues, teamwork, and it's always easier to do teamwork when you're physically present.
Yeah.
When you're doing these online meetings, there are so many things that are lost in that, because you're not able to gauge someone's attitude, whether someone is really into what you're discussing, or whether they are attentive, or whether, you know, there are things that you might not be able to see. So how are you managing? Because, you know, we need them Gen Zs to perform, and we need to understand how they work. We need to be flexible, but we also need to maintain some level of organization and systematic delivery of
Yes.
outputs.
Like I said, these are behaviors. Being a Gen Z, no one's okay. You're born in the era, that era is called Gen Z, but these are, I would say, these are behaviors, and behaviors are learned. They can be unlearned. Goes back to what I said, that it's the attitude. You come in with your Gen Z perspective, yet the organization has a different setting on how it wants.
Organizational culture.
Yeah, the organizational culture, how we want to do our things in this organization. So after knowing the difference, you have to be a sensitive person. You call these people and you talk to them. The first thing is that Gen Zs want to be heard. They want to be listened at. When they are talking to you, you give them their attitude. And someone can give you bad feedback, but in a good way. Yes. So if you find a Gen Z and you shout at them, like the way you shout at some ex-person, the yes sir, yes madam kind of people, these people want to be, like you said, they're already assertive, and these people want to be heard. So the way you're going to relay feedback also sometimes matter, but all in all goes back to attitude.
Yeah.
I can give you negative feedback, but in a good way. You come and be like, Kenneth, do you have some 20K there? If I be like, you so don't disturb me, I don't have 20K. You'll take it in a bad way. Then when you come and ask 20K, you'll be like, by the way, I don't have 20K. At the moment I don't have 20K, but try maybe tomorrow or something of that kind. You see, I'm saying no in both scenarios,
in both cases.
but this is a little. So we should also be a little bit considerate with the differences, and the management should do a lot of trainings on that different transition, because with time the transition is now, it's happening.
Yeah, I like the idea of doing training.
Yes.
Because, you know, school does not really teach you how to work.
No.
School gives you knowledge and information, but it does not really teach you how the work environment is going to be. So training is important. But what do you think the older generations also need to adjust to accommodate? Because, you know, much as we say that the Gen Zs are behaving a certain way, there are also certain behaviors that we need to adjust from the older generations, because we are also fixated in certain things that do not really add value. What is it that you would propose for
the old?
There's training already you've talked about.
There's training, that is one. Then you can do you can do like rotations at work, or you can mix up these people. You have to mix them up. You can assign coaches. You get someone who is in the other generation, and you assign them a coach to this person who is in the generation, as they get along, and you be a mediator. They get to get their differences, and that can also help. The other thing would be like continuous empowerment of these people, and continuous reminder of the HR department on the policies, and vis-a-vis adjusting the policy, allowing change. That change is inevitable. As we speak right now, organizations are moving. There are some organizations that since COVID time have never gone back to office, but it depends on which type of organization
and what kind of work
and which kind of work you're doing.
Yeah.
You cannot tell me you are a receptionist and you want to work from home, and you have clients who are coming to office. They want to meet different people. How are you going to attend to people when you're home? So it is more of training these people, and for them to get to know that however these changes are coming, there are some things that are basic that we
Yeah.
cannot take away.
Yeah.
That we cannot take away. When you're coming to a formal setting, this is how you're supposed to dress. However, you're Gen Z, you can try to adjust. It takes
Yeah.
nothing. It's behavior. Be here for 8 hours, go home, put on what you want to put, sandals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, dressing is really one major thing that
Yeah.
makes people make conclusions about people,
Yeah.
or perceptions, different perceptions
Definitely, yeah.
about people. But there's also right dressing for different places.
True.
I mean, if you're going to the beach, you're not going to wear gomesi.
You can't.
If you're
You
coming
can't.
to work, you're not going to wear your tattered jeans. And I mean, these are standards everywhere.
Yeah.
So really, I think what you say about training is important. Orientation, continuously sharing organizational culture, so that people understand that in this space, this is how I'm expected to behave for the betterment of the organization, but also everybody who is there.
Yeah.
So as we conclude, is there something, the last advice you can give to younger people, maybe one to the younger people, the Gen Zs, and then one to the older people, on how we can work harmoniously and accommodate each other?
Okay. Let me start with the Gen Zs. Maybe basically impart yourself with knowledge as much as possible. Make sure you work on your attitude. Have the right attitude. However, you may be a Gen Z, but that bad attitude, that wrong attitude, won't take you anywhere. Make sure.
Nobody wants to work with a difficult person.
Yeah. Try as much as possible to have the right attitude always. Blend your passion with what you already know. Like, get what you know plus what you love, put it together, you'll be the best worker, you'll be the best talent out there. And
for the older ones,
for those who are going to campus and all that, this is my own perception. Someone can have a different one. Times are changing. Employment is hard. Office work is very, very hard. So I would think someone should do a course that even if you move out of campus,
you don't have to look for a
even
job.
if you're not employed somewhere, you can start up something. That is a type of course that I think I would advise anyone to do. It may be traditional, it may not, but a course that when you know,
the skills can be applied.
The skills can cut across. I can move from here. I'm not employed, but I can do something for myself with the knowledge I attained from campus. Basically, that's what I will tell the younger generation.
What about the older generation? How should we prepare ourselves to receive these younger people in the job market?
You said at some point they are fixated, which I don't want to think. If you really want to change, it can change. What I can tell the older generation is that welcome the change. Welcome the change. I know it is hard if you've learned to do things some way and they now want you to do them a different way. Welcome the change. Then it also comes back to attitude. If your attitude is wrong, you won't welcome change. You have to then listen.
So what you're actually saying, it's not necessarily, you don't want to use the word fixation, but it's also attitude.
It is attitude.
Yeah.
Because if I know my attitude is this is the thing, because someone can tell, if someone tells 1 + 1 is 2, and there's no way you can change their mind telling them that if we get 4 and we subtract 2 from it, still remains 2. So such a person is hard to deal with, but we have to. Then when as well, the older people, I know they are passing on this experience to. So I expect the older people to learn and unlearn some things. It's not that whatever the Gen Zs come up with is something bad.
And also be able to really build the capacity of these younger people, because they're going to take over.
Yeah.
Because I think in the work environment, I hear people talk, and I've observed sometimes we people who have been in the field for longer periods of time, we are not mentoring younger people. I don't know why people sometimes want to be selfish. They want to know it all alone, and they're not mentoring younger people. And yet at the end of the day, if you don't do that, you're not building the capacity of these people to, and the next generation.
Yeah, really. You're not being. So then that will be another point for the older people. Be willing to share knowledge and information. But like I said, if the people you're sharing to are not willing to take it on, that is also another problem. Yeah, because it's now attitude. That's where the best talent comes in. That's where you can hire someone who does not have the best grades, because they have the right mindset
Yeah.
and their psychological capital is rich when you hear them and how they do their things. So you can end up hiring such a person over someone who has the best grades. Yeah.
Because the performance is different from having good grades.
Sometimes just having someone with the right attitude is the best. So the older people should be willing to unlearn and learn and accept change.
I have heard actually many human resource managers will tell you that I would rather have someone with the right attitude, willing to learn, than have someone with high grades with the wrong attitude.
Because if you have the right attitude, you can move mountains, you can go places. Because this is a person who are willing to learn. This is a person who will take feedback for correction and accept it with welcome it and work on it. This is a person that will thrive, basically.
So as we conclude, I want to pick some things that you said and also relate it to our recent experience with COVID. You've said that we need to acquire skills, as many skills as possible, because you never know when they will be handy. One thing I really want to reflect on is during COVID, it didn't matter what profession you are.
True.
If you didn't have skills that can generate income, you became almost useless.
Yes.
And that's when I realized, actually, and I don't know whether this is an experience you've also noticed, that for every single job or every single service that we need, there is a level of expertise that is required. Be it cutting hair, be it plaiting hair, be it looking after chicken. You know, one thing that I always tell my friends is that whenever I'm buying chicken, I don't negotiate too hard, because I know I try to look after chicken, and when a hen hatches, let's say hatches 15 eggs and they all become chicks, not all of them survive. I have tried, and out of the 15, maybe 2 or 3 may survive to the end. And then I began to think, these guys who actually look after chicken it's not an easy job. There's some expertise that I don't have, that they have, because they've specialized in that area, and they're able to grow chicken. And whatever it is, I realize that skills are very important. It doesn't matter whatever profession you are. If within your profession or within your area of skills, you do not have skills to survive, then probably that education has not helped you. So for those of you who are watching, thank you very much for watching. Join the conversation, comment, like, subscribe, so that you can see many of these programs. And I would like to bring you back. Thank you very much for being part of this conversation.
For hosting.
And I hope to have you another time.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. That's it. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye.